Plaintiff Morgan Taylor met the defendant when they were both in bands, and their bands often played together. Morgan claims he rented his van to the defendant for a 2-week band tour, but during that time, the van broke down, so he's suing for the damages. Defendant Brent Murphy says he's in a pop-punk band, and his band often hung out with Morgan's former band. Brent says after Morgan's van broke down, they were forced to cancel the rest of their tour, which hurt their reputation, and he denies owing for the damages.
All right, let's hear from you.
All right, Judge. I've known Brent for about 2 years. I actually met him when I sold one of my old guitar amps online. And then when I met him and he actually purchased it from me, I came to find out we were both actually playing in bands at the time in the same city. His band was more of a pop punk kind of genre, and my band was going more into the pop rock direction. After I did leave, the band did actually record and film a music video for a Justin Bieber cover song. So
Really?
Yeah. Well, anyways, from this, of me selling the amp, turns out we actually had a couple mutual friends, and so we kind of started to be...
Justin Bieber wears hair like that.
Not like this.
Like this?
It's a little more like, that.
Okay. Go ahead.
So we started to become acquaintances through our mutual friends. Our band started to play a bunch of shows together. So from this, we kind of started to build more of like a band kind of like camaraderie, friendship between the two of us. In spring of 2011, I decided to leave my band for various reasons. And when I left, I actually took our van, which we had purchased about 2 years prior, with me since it was in my name, and the band did not want to purchase it from me. About a month later, Brent had called me and asked to rent the van from me because he had heard that I had left and I had still owned the van. He needed it for his band to go on the road for 2 weeks on a bunch of West Coast tour dates. So I agreed. I had rented the van to his band.
West Coast from where? Where were you all
From
living?
San Diego up around the coast.
All right, so
up
you
north
all
a
on
little
the
bit.
West Coast.
Yeah, well, I wasn't exactly sure what their route was, but I do know they were headed up north
All right.
at one point of it. I agreed because I'd rented the van to his band before. Didn't have any problems with it. So when he asked to borrow it again, I said sure. July is when he actually asked to rent the van from me. And then on the 20th, I received a phone call from him stating that the van had broken down and it was in the process of being towed. I told him to take the van into a shop to get it looked at so we could figure out what was going on. He then towed it to a relative of one of his band members' house to have their uncle look at it. He couldn't find anything wrong with it, or he didn't know what was wrong. So then they decided to leave the van in Central California and return home. Took about 3 weeks for me to get the van back on August 7th.
How did you get it back?
They arranged for one of the members to go up, have it towed back down to a shop down in San Diego. And I received the van back on September 2nd from the shop of being repaired of $2,264.
You have the receipt?
Yes.
Sir?
All right.
Let's hear from you.
Yeah, like you said, I met him over Craigslist. Like my band, Captain, would hang out with his band, The Greater Heights, and like in San Diego, like the music scene, the pop punk scene's kind of small, so like there's just a sense of camaraderie and just trying to push each other.
What type of places do you play?
Place called Soma, like House of Blues, like stuff like that.
House of Blues? That's big.
Yeah, I haven't played House of Blues yet. I think these
You have not?
I think the Greater. I have not yet. No, but those are
Okay,
places
let me
like.
ask again. What type of places you played at?
We play all ages venues, sir. Our major demographic would be like 14 to 21 year olds. So we don't do very, very well in the bar scene. It's more of the all ages clubs. We're like, high schoolers, teenagers and stuff.
Gotcha. All right.
Defendant Brent Murphy is in a pop-punk band, and he rented the plaintiff's van for a 2-week band tour. But the van broke down, and they were forced to cancel the rest of their tour.
Tell me how you came to borrow his van.
Well, we were booking a tour up to San Francisco and asked him if I could rent it for the 2-week tour up to San Francisco. It then broke down for no reason in Bakersfield, and we had to cancel the rest of the tour. That hurt a lot of the venues. It also hurt us as our reputation as a band, and like just figure out how we were going to get it back. Like I thought we were being nice enough, like just trying to pay for all that towing to get it back, because like that's a long trip, and like I
How
went
much
through a
did
lot
you
of
pay him
hassle.
to rent it?
We paid $160, and then I was going to give him
For 2 weeks?
For 2 weeks, and then I was gonna give him 40 when we get back, and the van broke. So
What year was the van?
It was a 98 GMC Savannah.
Yeah, and I actually got a text message here that like how he would pay. It says right here.
Let's see it, please.
Why don't?
Sir, did you tell me you would pay?
I told him that we would take it in, we needed to take it into a shop to figure out what happened to it. He had said that they weren't able to take it into a shop because they didn't have any money to have even a mechanic look at it. I said I would pay to have a mechanic look at it and figure out what's wrong with it.
It says, why don't you just get it fixed? Then you say, and you also say, I told you that I'll pay for it. It's easier than giving me back a broken van, and it's cheaper for you. How is it cheaper for him? If you're going to pay for all of it, then it's not just cheaper for him. He doesn't pay anything, because that tow is going to cost you a ton of money. And it says, because we don't have time to wait around for a repair, half the people in the band plan to be home tomorrow. So we really don't have a choice. And it says, sorry, man, I'm doing my best. It's not like this is easy for us. We are dead broke now. So what did you mean by that? What was your purpose for telling him you were broke?
Well, before he was just like giving me a hard time about why isn't my van there yet, and I'm like, listen, man, I'm trying my best, and it's like really difficult because we don't have a lot of money. Like we're like a local like pop punk band, like we're trying our hardest to make it big in a scene that's not that big right now.
In regards to that, that text message was sent at a later time saying, why isn't my van back? Because it was supposed to be back after the 2 week tour.
But it's hard to get past this. Why don't you just get it fixed? I told you that I'll pay for it.
At the time that I sent that, there was no diagnostic or anything as to why the van broke. So it could have been something as simple as, I mean, I'm not a mechanic. I don't know what's wrong.
That's why you shouldn't have said that.
If I may, Your Honor.
Yes.
I am a former bandmate of Morgan's, and that van was nothing but bad luck since the day we bought it. When I actually went with Morgan to purchase it, and the person that we bought it from told us that it had been stagnant for 6 months to a year. It hadn't been used, hadn't even been started.
Yes, sir, and I'm looking at these problems, and they're all related to the engine gaskets, and that doesn't happen in 9 days.
I'm sorry?
You don't blow engine gaskets in 9 or 10 days.
Well, I actually have a statement from the shop where the van was repaired that actually said how the damages happened. What they said happened is the van was driven to a point of overheating.
What caused your van to overheat?
Some part of the...
Something was wrong with it.
Yes, something was wrong with it.
When you gave it to them. Engines don't break down because you drive it a certain distance, sir.
I have a statement from the mechanic that said the recap of the van was severely overheated and driven to the point of shutdown from that overheating. When the temperature gauge reads red on the head gasket fails and the vehicles continued to be driven.
Did that mechanic say why it was overheating?
Not in this statement, however.
What statement did he say it in?
When he told me what had actually caused...
No, the statement.
Oh, the statement?
Yeah, where he said, read that part.
Defendant Brent Murphy is in a pop punk band, and he rented the plaintiff's van for a 2-week band tour. But the van broke down, and they were forced to cancel the rest of their tour.
Read the part where he says the reason it was overheating.
There is not a...
I know it's not. One of the reasons cars overheat is because the head gaskets are blown already. That's what I'm going to conclude, is that it was already damaged, sir.
I've taken the van into multiple shops and had it looked at. When my band was using it, we were towing a trailer behind it, and I always asked them to inspect the transmission and the engine to make sure we weren't going to have any problems like blowing.
You have that.
The van had actually...
Hold on, sir. He's going to show me where his inspection said that the engine was fine. Let me see it.
3 months prior,
I said the engine is fine?
Yes.
Read it.
I have a copy of the
Read
invoice.
where it says the engine is fine.
It does not actually
I know it
state.
doesn't. Your claim is dismissed. Have a good day, because the engine wasn't fine.
You know that you were responsible for the damages.
I just hope he learns to put like music or his passion before the money. I mean, I just don't think it matters as much.
I think I did. I was trying to help him out. I rented him a van for 2 weeks for less than $200.